Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on me on mine. It means a lot. You guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. Today's video is going to be a very interesting one. Today's video is going to be about production secrets. Some you may know, some you may not know. Don't go to the comments and be like, "Oh my God, Spencer, I already know this because I'm just too cool." I know you already know it. That's the point. I'm saying some of them are more rare than others, and yeah. So essentially, how it's going to work is I'm just going to bring up one. I'll try and go as in depth to it as possible, and yeah. By the way, sorry for the bad mic quality in the past 2-3 videos. That's because my mic wasn't plugged in. That's it. That's my excuse. So yeah, from now on we should be back to good mic quality, and I won't be recording on a potato. Apologies for that. Let's get into the video. Before we start, 75% of you guys who are watching the video aren't subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get into the video. For our first one, we have that all outside shots, meaning like the shots where, like, okay, so let's say it's in a challenge where the contestants are hanging on to like the pole, like that challenge that Ozzy always wins. That a challenge. Do you know like when they'll zoom out, like it'll be super high up in the air and like everyone's like a little speck or like maybe a little figurine, but it's super cool because you can like see the whole island and the challenge. Those are filmed either before or after the challenge with the dream team and or like just members of production. And that leads me into my another one, which is the dream team. If you don't know, the dream team tests out the challenges, runs the challenges, and they're like the people that you see demonstrating it like before the challenge starts and like the little montage. That's the dream team. And so the production secret is that those outer shots are usually filmed with dream team members instead of the actual people, because they don't want the actual like line of cameras that you see right now on your screen to be in the shot for the huge like helicopter shot of the challenge, because Survivor, they really don't like breaking the fourth wall. So yeah, that's what they do. Another one, Jeff. Tribal goes on for a long time. Let's just put it that way. Tribals can last anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 hours. Final tribals can usually last at least several hours, all the way up until hitting midnight. Meaning, yes, final tribals can often last until day 40. Pretty crazy, if you ask me. Another thing, after the final tribal, everybody goes to Ponderosa and has a big party. Another thing, Ponderosa. If you didn't know, everybody goes to Ponderosa when they're voted out. The pre-merge goes to Ponderosa for sorry, the entire pre-jury goes to Ponderosa, and then once the last pre-jury member goes to Ponderosa, they all get shipped out on a trip. Now they're doing a trip to Australia as of recently, as of like the last 5 or 6 years. But before that, they would just put them in a different Ponderosa, or something like that. Ponderosas are mostly filmed and are put on they're put on YouTube. They're put on the CBS website. They're put on Paramount. You can go out there and find them if you really want to look through Ponderosas. It really is its own show. Leading me into my next one, which is Jeff will actually get very mad at contestants when they don't give a good answer, and he will go as far to turn the cameras off, or sometimes not turn the cameras off, because he knows that CBS isn't going to put it in the show, and he will yell and curse at the contestants who don't give him good enough answers. This isn't dissing Jeff. This is just the truth. According to Missy, in a post game interview done with, I believe, Phil and Alexa, on day one, or her first tribal, she wasn't giving him enough information because she was trying to stay under the radar, and he said, "quote You will fucking speak, like drop the f bomb and everything." So Jeff, like I know, like people are like, oh yeah, like I've seen Jeff get mad at like Johnny Fairplay. No. Jeff gets mad at anybody who isn't giving him a good enough answer at tribal, and when he does get mad, he will take it out very harshly. Another thing, when contestants are moved from place to place, whether that be camp to challenge, challenge to camp, camp to tribal, tribal to camp, to whatever island, they're put on what's called lockdown, because they're transferred together, and production doesn't want them to communicate with each other off camera because they can't film them going on the boat to a challenge. That would kind of be breaking the fourth wall, or kind of like it'd be kind of weird to see them all on a polished, clean boat. That doesn't really fit in the vibe of Survivor. So they put the contestants on what's called lockdown, which essentially producers are there to watch the contestants and make sure that they don't talk or interact until they're at the spot that they are, where they have a bunch of cameras and mics rolling. Um, but the interesting thing about this is why it started. So, according to production, or not really, but it's pretty much overly like known that the reason why lockdown started was because in the Australian Apex second season, uh, Tina was Tina made a huge flip in the third episode, in like the at the third tribal, in which she even references in the episode that she made this flip because of because of discussion that happened off camera on the way to tribal, which they obviously didn't get on camera, and so she made this decision, and they didn't have the reason why on camera, and so from there on they made them go without talking, and from there on quote unquote lockdown was created, I guess. Another thing, Jeff will walk through the entire challenge before the challenge occurs. Uh, I know this because both Johnny Fairplay has said it in an interview with, I believe, was it with Russell or with Reality Pop? It's one of them. Fairplay has confirmed it because Jeff would always curse at Fairplay during this time. And I've seen video of it happening in Guatemala, I believe. But from what I understand, this has continued to the current seasons. Where what'll happen is he'll give us this little quick spiel, and then he'll be like, "All right, let's go." And he claps his hands, and then he'll go, and then let's go is not like let's go do a challenge. Let's go is like let's go see what the challenge is. He explains everything that needs to be explained. Everything that isn't explained is stuff that they need to know that they don't need to know, or that they need to figure out themselves, like a puzzle or something that like he can't really like say, okay, so you do this right here, and but like when it comes to like you'll like be like, oh, how do they know that the rule was that you can't do this or this. He never said that. He probably said it in the demonstration slash walkthrough that happens before the challenge. All right, this one's pretty basic. I'm sure you know, but confessionals, which refer to when like when you'll like see a scene and then you'll see a castaway describing what happened in the scene. This is called a confessional. The producers called this taking a walk, and I'm putting air quotes in the air. At least nowadays, they are called confessionals, interviews, like whatever you want to call them. There's just different names for them, but they're very very important to how the show is narrated, because the show is narrated by the contestants themselves and not Jeff Probst, or not a producer, or not a narrator, and that's what makes the show very, very unique. But the behind the scenes thing with this is that, from what I understand, a producer will ask them questions, sometimes kind of like trying to get an answer out of them that they want, and also that this is called taking a walk. And that they will take them to a really, really far and isolated place, and because they would never want the contestant to be caught, saying something, because then the contestant would lose like a lot of trust in the producer, sorry, in the producers. Now I'm going to move on to kind of the casting process. So how the casting process works. So people will send in videos. People will go to online casting calls. Like tens of thousands of people will do this. And out of those people, 50 people will be selected for finals. Finals occur in LA, at CBS Studios, and all 50 people will go there, and they're looking for anywhere from 20, or sorry, 16 to 20 people, however many they need for their cast. And they usually get their cast out of the 50, and around two or three like safety people, or I forget what they're called, but like people who they can use in case some body like backs out. Um, I believe Davey was one of these people, and because I believe it was Cere's son backed out of David versus Goliath, Davey took his spot. So essentially, how it works is, after all those people apply, they narrow it down to 50. Each person goes in a room with a bunch of cameras. Jeff Probst, Mark Burnett, all of those CBS higher ups, executives, and they'll interview them and say, okay, and they'll ask them questions all about who they are, because they want to get the person who they thought they were getting from the video on the show. The last thing that they'd want is to let somebody on the show who isn't interesting, or who's just kind of lying, who's going to be really boring TV, or who isn't going to play the game. They need something out of you, and if somebody gets on the show, it's for a very distinctive reason. And so it's very, very rare for for you to get on the show at all. Which, just think about this for a second. To go through all of that, and then to get the raw deal that Jonathan and Wanda got when they got kicked off without ever going to a tribal. And I mean, that just always breaks my heart when I think about how rigorous the casting process is. That people got that screwed. But that's aside the point. All right, next, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I saw in the Survivor contract that all players need to sign before going out. So, one, you can't operate a website in the months after you get back from filming Survivor and before it airs. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. Because if you can go on Instagram, why can't you? And it's silly to me, but whatever. Um, you cannot disclose any information. There's what's called an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement that all contestants sign before even getting close to going out, because they would never want somebody to sue for being shown on television when that's the entire point of being out there. So yeah, they everybody signs an NDA, saying that after the show, the filming ends, but before the episodes air, they cannot disclose any information about the season. And if so, they're able to be sued for up to, I believe, $6 million. This has never actually happened. I feel like it's almost like one of those things where, like, Russell had leaked the boot lists for both Heroes versus Villains and Redemption Island's pre-merge. And he never got in trouble. I feel like it's one of those things where they say it just to kind of scare people into not doing it. I also know that Jeff gives a huge speech at the end of the season to the entire cast, saying things like, and these are coming out of his mouth. He says that at the end of the season, in this quote unquote speech, he says, quote, this is your story, and so if you tell people, then then they have the power now, and stuff like that. Really, just to get people not to tell, because they can sue all they want. Once the winner's out, the winner's out. Once the boot order is out, the boot order is out. You can sue all you want. You're not going to sue back the amount of viewers that you lost because they got spoiled. But yeah, um, this show is so interesting from a production standpoint. It really is like fun to talk about. If you want me to do a part 2 of this video, there's plenty more that I can think of. I'm trying to like differentiate this video from a iceberg conspiracy theory video, where, because like there's like a lot more conspiracy theories that I didn't talk about. But I feel like this, I'm trying to like make this video about production things and not necessarily conspiracy theories or whatever rumors and stuff like that. Just kind of confirm production things. And so yeah, this is a video. What are your ideas for future videos? Let me know in the comments. As I said earlier, subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff. Turn the notification bell. It's the most important thing out of everything. I mean, you could just jump off a cliff, but please hit the notification bell before you jump off the cliff. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If that's it, thank you.